Okay, how's that?
Terrific.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. I've recently, through you, John, learned about the Rotary Club, and I'm really impressed, especially the four-way test of, is it true? Is it fair? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all? I just think that this is such a remarkable basis for a club. So really happy to be here with all you good people today, and excited to share this time with you. So I have 20 years of experience working with positive impact brands and organizations. I started off my first decade selling art and working with mostly nonprofits like the Pablo Picasso Estate and Stanford University. A little over a decade ago, I went back to school and got my MBA in sustainable enterprise because I believe that commerce creates culture, and we create the culture we live in largely through the products we produce and the products that we consume. And I wanted to create a culture that's innovative and thriving to potentially have a net positive impact. So I'm really excited to share with you all how we can do that together through circular economy solutions. So quick overview. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can read my notes. So I'm going to give a quick overview of Sustana, and then I will offer some brief consumer data. I'm going to talk about what the circular economy is, and we're going to watch a great video. It's a virtual tour of Sustana's operations. Then we'll discuss what a life cycle assessment is as a circular economy tool. We'll talk about how we utilize biogas to reduce fossil fuel consumption. And then I'll give an example of a circular economy partnership that we were lucky enough to have with Starbucks. I am going to show a few short videos, so it's not just me talking the whole time, and hopefully that'll keep it interesting. So getting started here. Okay, so this is Sustana Fiber, as John mentioned. We are the leading manufacturer of sustainably produced premium recycled fiber and paper. We utilize post-consumer material to create high quality, low carbon footprint products. We're recognized as an industry leader in sustainability, and we leverage cutting edge technology and innovative proprietary processes that turn post-consumer fiber into sustainable FSC certified products for use in printing, writing, tissue, and FDA compliant packaging, which is unique. We have 3 business units. 2 are fiber production. One is in Wisconsin. The other fiber operation is in Quebec, Canada. And then our recycled paper facility is in Saint Jerome, Quebec. So packaging is everywhere. I don't have to tell you guys this. Containers and packaging contribute to nearly a quarter of all landfill, and the average American consumes about 4 pounds of trash a day. Most of that is food related. And I also don't have to tell you that sustainability is more important than ever before. Some 2020 consumer research that you all may find interesting. We asked a nationally representative sample of average everyday shoppers what they most wanted from companies they support with their purchase dollars. And this is what they said. They said they'd like companies to fully disclose their environmental impact. They would like companies to reduce their overall carbon footprint, and they have a strong desire for companies to be more transparent about their role in climate change. Although the passion for improving the environment is shared across generations, millennials and Gen Zs are the most vocal in driving this change. And this is mostly due to the access of social media. 8 out of 10 of these age groups strongly believe businesses need to make greater efforts to protect the environment, and they continue to push for a world in which businesses and governments mirror their commitment to society, putting people ahead of profits and prioritizing environmental sustainability. And this is a customer quote that I find particularly relevant. A gentleman from North Carolina wrote, "I respect and admire companies who strive to minimize their negative impact. I reward companies who take the time and effort to think about the processes they use to obtain their resources and products." I mean, how many of you out there can relate to this? I know I can. Okay, so what is the circular economy? A circular economy is an industrial system that is restorative and regenerative by intention and design. It replaces the end-of-life concept with restoration, shifts towards the use of renewable, and aims for the elimination of waste through superior design of products, systems, and business models. So what exactly does that mean? I'm going to show a really great video that does a great job explaining it.
Living systems have been around for a few billion years and will be around for many more. In the living world, there's no landfill. Instead, materials flow. One species' waste is another's food, energy is provided by the sun, things grow, then die, and nutrients return to the soil safely. And it works. Yet as humans, we've adopted a linear approach. We take, we make, and we dispose. A new phone comes out, so we ditch the old one. Our washing machine packs up, so we buy another. Each time we do this, we're eating into a finite supply of resources and often producing toxic waste. It simply can't work long term. So what can? If we accept that the living world's cyclical model works, can we change our way of thinking so that we too operate a circular economy? Let's start with the biological cycle. How can our waste build capital rather than reduce it? By rethinking and redesigning products and components, and the packaging they come in, we can create safe and compostable materials that help grow more stuff. As they say in the movies, no resources have been lost in the making of this material. So what about the washing machines, mobile phones, fridges? We know they don't biodegrade. Here, we're talking about another sort of rethink, a way to cycle valuable metals, polymers, and alloys so they maintain their quality and continue to be useful beyond the shelf life of individual products. What if the goods of today became the resources of tomorrow? It makes commercial sense. Instead of the throw away and replace culture we've become used to, we'd adopt a return and renew one, where products and components are designed to be disassembled and regenerated. One solution may be to rethink the way we view ownership. What if we never actually owned our technologies? We simply licensed them from the manufacturers. Now, let's put these two cycles together. Imagine if we could design products to come back to their makers, their technical materials being reused and their biological parts increasing agricultural value. And imagine that these products are made and transported using renewable energy. Here we have a model that builds prosperity long term. And the good news is, there are already companies out there who are beginning to adopt this way of working. But the circular economy isn't about one manufacturer changing one product. It's about all the interconnecting companies that form our infrastructure and economy coming together. It's about energy. It's about rethinking the operating system itself. We have a fantastic opportunity to open new perspectives and new horizons. Instead of remaining trapped in the frustrations of the present, with creativity and innovation, we really can rethink and redesign our future.
Okay, great. So that was from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. If you're not familiar with them, I would highly recommend checking them out. I think, I get really excited about the circular economy. I think it's a pretty amazing methodology to implement. Just so again, the circular economy highlights we're designing out waste and pollution. So waste becomes a nutrient. There is no waste in the circular economy. We're keeping products and materials in use, and we're regenerating natural systems. So where does Sustana fiber fit into the larger circular supply chain? So here I am. I've just had a wonderful beverage. I put it into the recycle bin. It gets collected at my local recycling facility. It gets sorted, baled, and transported to Sustana, where it goes into a pulper. Then it goes through a screen. It gets washed and back into a bale. Then it gets transported to a company or converting facility like Roland, transported and turned into back into another one of my cups that I can enjoy. So this is a virtual tour for our Sustana fiber facility in De Pere, Wisconsin.
Welcome to Sustana's recycled fiber operation in De Pere, Wisconsin, where we sustainably manufacture 100% recycled fiber from recovered paper products. The recovered material we process comes from schools and offices, homes, factories, restaurants, anywhere where there is an opportunity to segregate and sort waste. We are proud to use our state-of-the-art facility to process these discarded items in an environmentally friendly manner and convert them into high-quality products for our customers. Sustana is at the forefront of building a circular economy in our markets. A circular economy is built on extending the life cycle of materials and resources that have already served a purpose into new uses. Our process begins with recovered paper products. This includes office waste paper, discarded books, catalogs, and advertisements, used envelopes, and food packaging, like cartons and cups that are collected and segregated at sorting facilities throughout North America and shipped to our site. The Sustana fiber facility in De Pere processes up to 675 tons, or 34 truckloads of recovered material per day, diverting up to 1.4 million pounds of material out of landfills daily. We use this material to produce high-quality recycled fiber. Our customers use our products to make packaging and food packaging, printing paper, paper towels, and tissue paper. Sustana's quality allows our customers to use our products in applications that are technically complex and where appearance is highly important, like coffee cups, premium retail boxes, and high-end printing papers. Let's walk through our process. Recovered material arrives at Sustana from paper recyclers and material recovery facilities. They are unloaded, regrouped according to a recipe based on what is being produced, and placed into a hydropulper. A hydropulper is like a giant blender where the recovered paper materials are mixed with water and spun together. This mechanical process breaks down and separates the usable fibers from any non-fibrous material for about 25 minutes. The recovered recycled fiber then moves to further processing steps, including filtering, cleaning, and washing. Material goes through 4 loops of filtering screens to further filter out non-fiber material. Cleaning and washing steps include over 450 conical cleaners, 8 flotation cells that further remove dirt using surfactants, water and air, dispergers to further filter contaminants, and other advanced filtering and cleaning systems, including 2 60-foot diameter clarifiers. Once the fibers are filtered and cleaned, it is time to remove water to make the products ready to ship. The clean fibers are sent over a mesh wire in the wet lap machine to reduce water content. The resulting fiber mat is cut into large sheets that are stacked in bale form and prepared for shipment. The entire process, from when the recovered material is placed into a hydropulper to when a finished product is ready to ship, takes about 3 hours. The control tower is where the operation is managed. Here, all the processes are monitored and adjustments are made to optimize all process steps in real time. The recycled fibers are tested for quality and consistency at multiple steps throughout the process. Utilization of advanced process control systems, raw material management, and continual analysis of statistical process data reduces overall consumption of chemicals throughout the facility, while ensuring the highest quality standards. Sustana Fiber has a long-standing commitment to sustainable manufacturing. This includes efficient utilization of energy, water reuse and conservation, and advanced water treatment technology. Sustana has an on-site anaerobic digester to efficiently and sustainably treat water. Our goal is to have zero discharge of processed water to the municipal waste treatment facility by the end of 2021. In addition, over 95% of the material that is filtered out from our raw materials during the production process is repurposed for other uses, such as grass seed coating, farmland soil blending, and animal bedding. We are proud of our products and how we make them, and are excited to be the sustainability leader in our markets. Thank you for learning about our process.
So I was able to visit that plant for the first time only about a month ago due to COVID, and it was just remarkable seeing the operations in person, and the video does a great job of showing you exactly how the operations are conducted. And I think it's really neat. The coolest part for me as a sustainability director was seeing the byproduct that's used for land farming and animal bedding, because that's typically product that if you were a different type of manufacturer could go to landfill. So the fact that it's going back into the ecosphere as nutrients for future products is really remarkable to me. So at Sustana, as you can tell, our focus is on impact. We're proud to share that we recycle over 318,000 tons of recovered paper a year, saving 7.62 million trees, 612 million gallons of water, 26 million pounds of trash, 3.21 million BTUs of energy, and 3.3 billion pounds of CO2. So I want to talk now about a life cycle assessment, or LCA as we call it. It's one of the tools that are used to measure the circular economy impacts. LCAs measure the entire life cycle of a product, a specific product, from raw material extraction, processing, and manufacturing to distribution and disposal. At Sustana, we've conducted 2 in-depth life cycle assessments for 2 of our product lines, Roland Enviro and our Enviro Life. The Roland Enviro is, of course, at Roland in Canada, and Enviro Life is from the facility that we just did the tour of in Wisconsin. Our LCAs were produced by a third party and conform to ISO 14040 through 14044 standards. Results and conclusions were approved by a formal peer review process. And so here are just a few highlights from our LCA. Other papers, virgin and recycled, are mainly made using coal and natural gas, which create emissions in the air and water. Virgin paper also has a significant impact on biodiversity, which can become even more important when its fibers are sourced in zones where certain species might be at risk. So we're proud that Roland Enviro paper production has a 62% lower impact on climate change than virgin paper. And we have essentially no impact on biodiversity since we are not sourcing from forests. You may be familiar with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. They were adopted by all United Nations members states in 2015, and they provide a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and planet now and into the future. The target date for achieving these goals is 2030. The work that we do at Sustana Group directly supports 9 of the 17 SDGs. As you can see here, clean energy, climate action, industry, life on land, sustainable cities and communities, clean water, responsible consumption and production, good health and well-being, and life below water. I'll highlight one of the SDGs we address, which is number 7, clean energy. And we achieve SDG number 7 by using renewable fuel. This is something that really sets us apart from our competitors. So biogas is the main energy source at our largest facility in Quebec. And we've been using it since about 2004, when an employee took an interest in alternative fuel sources. So how does it work? Methane is captured from decomposing waste in a nearby landfill. It's then purified, compressed, and transported through an 8-mile pipeline to our mill. Biogas is used as thermal energy to make paper instead of using fossil fuels that would release emissions into the air. And in doing this, we're saving 70,000 tons of carbon dioxide from being released into the air, which is equivalent to 23,400 compact cars. And I have a little 1-minute video that I'll show about our biogas.
Is the paper you use made with renewable energy? Unlike paper makers who use carbon or nuclear energy sources, Roland uses renewable biogas energy. Biogas is generated by the decomposition of waste from a local landfill site. It is captured and compressed with a purification system and then transported by pipeline over a distance of 8 miles to Roland's mill. 93% of the paper machines are powered with biogas, resulting in 70,000 fewer tons of CO2 generated each year, or the equivalent of 23,000 compact cars. Biogas is a sustainable initiative, allowing for the reuse of local and abundant resources that would otherwise be lost. Reduce your environmental footprint. Choose a recycled paper made with biogas energy. Is the paper...
Okay, so the paper and packaging industry is growing and corporate leaders are responding to sustainability goals. We're seeing this more and more. Large Fortune 50, Fortune 10 companies are making climate pledges, which is absolutely fantastic. Starbucks is one of them. We were fortunate to partner with Starbucks on a cup-to-cup initiative.
In early 2018, 4 supply chain partners came together to demonstrate that cups could be recycled and turned into new cups. Recycling 18 truckloads of old Starbucks cups into new Starbucks cups. Supply chain partners working together to close the loop, contributing to the development of a circular economy.
The ultimate vision of the Starbucks Sustana partnership is to provide a full closed-loop, zero-waste solution.
The iconic Starbucks cup. It holds more than just well-crafted coffee. It holds the proof and potential of how powerful post-consumer recycling can be.
So these are a few of the other customers that we are very proud to be working with. Patagonia, as you can see, is here, Lush, and then Ford, Cirque du Soleil, and Air Canada are just a handful of the phenomenal companies that we're fortunate to be working with. All right, and that is it. So I'm happy to open the conversation. I think this is the funnest part of presenting for me, is to have a interaction with you all. So
This is wonderful. I cannot emphasize enough that no matter what we do with our environment, if we can't change our lifestyle and look to some kind of a circular economy and manage it, then we haven't really made the changes we have to make. So I guess my question has to do with, and I know there are other questions out there. How are you educating people about the circular economy and about what Sustana is doing?
yeah,
Other
great
than,
question.
yeah.
So obviously speaking engagements like this, I take every opportunity I can to talk about this topic about the circular economy. And then it's also by way of example. So I'm constantly looking for new resources and very conscious of the fact that younger generations, I have a daughter who's a teenager, I have teenage nieces, are, especially my daughter, she doesn't listen to anything I say, but she watches everything I do. So conscious of that, what am I passing along to them, and am I educating them by way of my actions, and then just getting involved with organizations like the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, who is really the leading the way of the circular economy. Those are some great ways to get involved and to get informed and to start, learning.
Great. Terry, do we have, I know there's been some questions in the chat.
Yeah, there have been a couple of questions, and then we're happy to have people raise hands and ask questions that way. I had one question that was related to the first question, and that had to do with the water that's used to do the recycling. So I was curious what happens to the wastewater in the recycling process. And so an adjunct to that was what chemicals are used to, quote, wash the paper.
Yeah, so they're non-toxic chemicals, and I know that they are chlorine free. I am not a scientist and don't claim to be. So I know that, again, the chemicals are non-toxic. What happens to the water is that it gets purified and recirculated. So when I was at our operations, like I said, about a month ago, I asked, his name's Jim Schneider, if he would drink the water after it's been purified. And he said, oh, absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely would. So right now, only about, I believe, 1% is getting discharged back into the municipal water system. As they mentioned in the video, we're working at 0% discharge. So we actually wouldn't have any wastewater at all coming from our operations.
I think that's pretty darn amazing. So somebody else was curious, how many times can you recycle a Starbucks cup? You eventually have to recycle that into something else?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so, so I'll take the opportunity from that question to describe two things. So there's what we call an open loop, and there's what we call a closed loop. So things like aluminum and glass, we can actually have a closed loop recycling system, because when we recycle those materials, there's no degradation of volume or integrity to the product, right? We don't lose anything significant from glass or from aluminum. Paper, on the other hand, if I were to try to recycle my Sustana cup over and over again, the exact same cup, we would lose volume, we would lose integrity. So so when we take materials in, we're taking paper, we're taking virgin paper from offices, but we're also taking things that have formerly been thought of as non-recyclable, like cups. So the mix that we're using is actually, unfortunately, and we're trying to get more of it, but it's a very small amount of actual, like, cups and juice cartons and things like that. One of the remarkable things about about Sustana is that we do have the capability to actually recycle things like juice cartons. So we can actually separate out the lining from the usable fiber and use that again, which is pretty remarkable. And then that plastic goes into other products. So to answer the question, I couldn't indefinitely recycle this one cup, but this cup can go into a mix of recycled materials and create new materials indefinitely, really. But if I had, was trying to just specifically recycle one unit over and over again, it would eventually disintegrate and I would end up with zero material. Does that answer the question?
I think that was a very comprehensive answer. Actually, that was a great answer. Someone else wants to know, where can you buy these type of recycled products if they want to incorporate them into their everyday lives? So are they widely available?
Yeah, so we don't we make paper products at Roland. At Sustana, we don't actually make products. We supply the fiber to companies that are making these products. And because they're not our customers, I'm not at liberty to name any of them. I named our Roland customers like Patagonia and like Lush, but I can't give specific names. I can say though that what I would do would be to wherever you're buying your coffee or your juice cartons or whatever you want pulp in, I would ask your retailer or ask the places where you shop, do you have recycled content in your cups? And, if not, let's have that conversation. Because like I said, it's a very unique process that we have and capability that we have to include recycled content into food packaging. Nobody else is doing it. So it's pretty remarkable. So obviously Starbucks is doing it. They actually put 10% of recycled content into their coffee cups. And then, like I said, I would just check with wherever you do your shopping and your food service to see if they can put content in.
Okay, John, do you want to open it up to some audience questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Gloria, does that answer your question? You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute, Gloria.
Thank you, John. We have a situation where we're opening a building. We are going to have normal plates and cups and so forth, but in the meantime, they're using plastic. And I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of that and replace it with something sustainable, recyclable, or whatever is the appropriate product. But I can't find the right product, so I need help.
Okay. So I'd be happy to chat with you after about fiber-based paper plate and cup solutions. I would say, yeah, I'd be happy to give you some resources for those. There are quite a few. I produce events and so I've had to do that exact same sourcing that you're doing of, I want to produce an event, but I need to make sure that I'm not using plastic and I'm serving, 300 people food, and it's a sustainability event. So I don't want to show up with a bunch of plastic. So I'd be happy to share those resources with you. But yeah, I would say fiber-based, you can get fiber-based cutlery, even you can get fiber-based plates, cups, and everything.
Will you put your contact into the chat so that I can email?
Yeah, and it's absolutely.
Emily, aren't all the stuff that is recycled and is part of this circular economy? They tend to have some kind of markings on them that says that they're sustainable. They may not say that they're in the circular economy. They're not 100%, but they are, reused. It's from it. Isn't that true?
It is true. Yeah. Yes. So you'll see on a lot of paper products that it'll say recyclable, or it'll say,
Right.
X contains 10% post-consumer content, things like that. And so, you'll see those symbols. I haven't seen many circular economy symbols, so I can't say that there is a closed loop symbol, but I'm not sure that that's widely adopted. But most frequently, you'll see the recycle symbol, or you'll see, made with X% post-consumer content. That means it has some recycled fiber in it, and it is also recyclable, which is great.
May I just say, I'm told it goes into the landfill. Those kind of products still go into the landfill. Is that correct?
Yeah, so this is a big issue that we are really trying to educate consumers about. Depending on where you live and the structure and structures are in place in your county, in your municipality, it could go to the landfill or it could get recycled. So something like a paper cup, for example, it has the ability to be recycled using our technology of separating out the moisture barrier from the reusable pulp. So it's definitely possible to do that, but not all counties actually sort those and put them into the recyclable section, for example. So to answer your question, a lot of it does go to landfill. And, we're trying to stop that from happening, because it's this, I think of it as it's this amazing resource that we have barely tapped into, which is the landfill. And so, we're really trying to change that and to educate consumers and to educate, our local recyclers that, hey, these juice boxes, these milk cartons, these coffee cups actually can be recycled, and we get a pretty good yield of reusable fiber from them.
This is the kind of thing that a local Rotary Club can take on, because they have access to the community and to the county. They can actually find out what it is that is being done to recycle, and actually make a difference in helping the legislative process, so that it actually makes a difference. So terrific project to take on.
And that's a great point. And, John, you and I live in the same county, and I was just answering a question for a customer about this exact topic. Does the cup that I put in my recycle bin go to landfill, or does it actually get recycled? And I was checking our county's recycling our categories, and if I put this cup, this beautiful Sustana cup, in our recycling bin, it's going to go to landfill, which is, and we live in an extremely progressive county. So I think that would be a great idea for your different clubs to get together and try and have some local action on this. The other thing we can do is start, just individual initiatives with certain companies. So if there's like a coffee shop that is in your local community that you want to work directly with, you can say, hey, can we collect these coffee cups and have them sent to Sustana, so that we know that they're getting recycled. That would be another initiative that you all could take on, and I think would be really valuable and impactful.
Terry, any other questions? Anybody else have a question?
Oh yeah, lots of questions. So I just raised my hand because I've been noticing lots of questions. So some of the questions are oriented toward plans to expand. I mean, do we need to have a Sustana in everybody's backyard in order for this to be an endeavor that gets bigger? So somebody said your company is currently private, so expansion plans to go public, expand.
Yeah, our company is private, and what I would love to see happen would be if we did have, you know, several facilities across the country first and then globally, so that it would make sense transportation wise to collect, you know, these units and you know, and ship these tons to central locations, right? Because right now, the freight and the CO2 emissions of transporting, you know, a truckload of cups from San Francisco, say, to Wisconsin doesn't really make a lot of sense, right? So, and it's not a sustainable option. So, so yes, I think ideally we could have, you know, several locations across the country that would have these capabilities, and or partner with local recycling facilities, and license our technology so that they could then do it themselves. That would be kind of the other idea of how we could scale this, because I agree with you 100%. This is a solution that needs to be widely adopted.
Okay, so currently, no, you're not building any plants anywhere else then?
Not that I know of, but they don't tell me everything.
Okay, because
No.
someone asked how many plants would you need to make a real dent in this situation? So
Well, we're making a
lot.
dent, but yeah, and we are working more and more with, I will say, very, very large companies. And that's really making a dent. So the more of these mega companies that we can work with, the more resources we'll have to expand and grow.
Okay.
Other questions?
Anyone else want to raise their hand and ask their question?
Have you seen, Emily, the same orientation, or are you aware of the same orientation of recycling plastic?
What do you
Where
mean by
they're-
orientation?
Well, in other words, they're taking in the plastic, they're taking it down to the basic structure, and then they're refining it to use it in other plastic type products. In other words,
yeah.
recycling it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're seeing more and more plastic recycling, which is absolutely fantastic, and we're all for that. I would rather use a fiber-based product than a plastic-based product, because we don't
Agreed.
get into, you know, the oil and stuff like that. But yeah, you know, the plastic recycling rates are going up, which is fantastic. Yeah.
So for people's comments, I'm putting up the poll. Please take an opportunity to answer the questions. Gloria, do you have another question?
Well, sure. I mean, this is a valuable piece of information, this circular economy. I feel like more people need to hear about it or know about it or interact with it somehow. Are there materials to hand out, or one sheet that we can share in our clubs, or put in our newsletter, or some way to help promote this whole thing? Because we're very privileged to be here, but there's a lot of people not listening. I'd like them to hear all of this.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the slides that I went through, the circular economy slides, and then the short video from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, those would be great resources to share with your communities. And then, you know, I'll be happy to send along anything else that kind of comes to mind. But those are the ones that I included in the presentation are probably the kind of most digestible resources that I have to offer.
They would be great to show at meetings. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sharon, Sharon.
Okay, yes, just to follow up on that question, I was wondering, are there other companies besides paper recycling companies that follow this model of the circular economy?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and Patagonia is a great one. And so one of the initiatives that they're doing is a take back program. So they will actually take back clothes that have already been worn. They'll repair them if they need repairs, and then resell them. And you, as the primary or first owner, gets a certain amount from that sale. So that's one example. Lush Cosmetics, who is also a phenomenal customer of ours, are very active in the circular space. So they're doing something similar where the pots that they put their products in, it's personal care products. They're made from, and John, this goes to your point, they're made from plastic, but I think it's 3. So if you use the product out of 3 containers, you bring it back to a Lush store and you get a free face mask, which is great for us ladies. And then they go directly back into new containers. So that's a great example of a circular economy story where the exact materials are going right back into the same containers.
Is there some place we can go to get that kind of information on a list of companies that are doing this?
And again, Ellen MacArthur Foundation has a lot of members, and we're one of them. And then I would also recommend B Corp. So Sustana is in the evaluation queue for becoming a B Corp. B Corp companies are committed to having a positive environmental and social impact. And so you go through a very lengthy evaluation and verification process through B Corp to become a certified B Corp. So you'll see it's a little circle with a B on it. Big companies like Ben & Jerry's are certified B Corps, and then some smaller companies as well, but you can go on the B Corp website and they have a list of all the companies that are certified B Corps. Eileen Fisher is one of them. Danone North America was just certified the largest B Corp. It's a global certification. And so that's another great resource. I go on there all the time to, shop for people and try to find new brands and new sustainable companies that I want to support with my purchasing dollars.
That's great. Niraj, you had a question?
Hi. Yeah, I'm Neeraj Bhatnagar from New Delhi, India. I'm a Rotarian, of course, and what I wanted was if we can prepare a list of projects which can be doable by clubs using local resources. For example, project 1, 2, 3, 4 like this, which we can develop with an investment of, let's say, $10,000 or $20,000 and set up localized, sustainable, circular economy based projects, actually,
Good.
If you can prepare those things, that will be, it'll start teaching people the concept of circular economy, as well as, let clubs do these projects, actually, that is very important, I personally feel, and this is the only reason which made me get up in the morning here at 4 o'clock to attend this presentation, actually.
Thank you for doing that. Well, much appreciate you joining us.
Honored to have you join us. And you bring up a really good point that a lot of these initiatives are very regionally specific or even community specific, right? So if there's a list of 3 topics that you all come up with within your communities that you think, hey, we can really push the circular economy in these different 3 impact areas, whether it's, maybe it's cup recycling, maybe it's food containers, and maybe it's, plates or something like that, or even electronics, like we saw in the video, that's another one. So how do we initiate circular economy solutions within electronics. There are a lot of different materials that we're using that are not good for the environment. So how can we implement solutions to either safely dispose of or eliminate or reuse those materials in a safe way for people and the environment?
Yeah.
I really like where this is going, and thanks for the question, because John, I think it would be a really great thing if we were to do a little bit deeper digging into exactly what types of circular projects can there be in communities. I mean, what's a reasonable scale for a community to do that doesn't have a Sustana in their backyard? So I think that we could take a look at trying to figure out what that looks like.
Or in a colony, maybe in a particular area, like a sort of a zones area, we can make a zone and then set up a project over there, or maybe take up a warehouse where we can start collecting all the waste materials and put the dump over there. And then from there, it can be a source to a bigger project site, actually,
Yeah, if we could find and locate people who would take those materials and do something with them and facilitate the recycling of them, like the refrigerant project that SRAG was involved in.
Absolutely.
It's possible.
Another great company I can offer is TerraCycle. And they're a wonderful partner for recycling items that we can't put in our local, recycling containers. So, and they'll take anything at all. So I would definitely reach out to them too, as you start to think about what's going to be most impactful in your local communities and see, how they can help you. It's TerraCycle.
Yeah.
Okay.
TerraCycle, wonderful.
I have one question, Olson. For example, we have a lot of plastic waste, like bottles coming up. Can those plastic bottles be converted into fiber, which we can convert them into, making a fiber for making clothes and for making other things from there?
Yeah, there's a lot of companies right now that are using plastic to go into new products. Like I mentioned, I have a daughter and nieces, and I just bought them they're into dance. So I just bought them some leggings from a company called Girlfriend Collective. And the leggings are made from recycled plastic bottles and from ocean plastic. So there are a lot of, really innovative companies that are using plastic to go into different types of products, which is great.
That tells me that, my daughter is a fashion designer.
Oh, is she?
And she started using all sustainable fibers, Econel.
Yeah.
And she's buying fibers from Italy
Yeah.
to make, and the fabric from there to make her clothing, actually. So she's totally going into sustainable clothing for her fashion.
Oh, that's great. That it's a passion of mine, honestly. So I do a lot of work with sustainable fashion, and that's fantastic. Yeah, that's wonderful. And there are so many amazing, innovative fabrics, I'll call them fabrics, coming out now, like from leather that's made out of cactus. To so many different phenomenal things. Mushroom based fabrics and things like that. There's a company here in the Bay Area called Bolt Threads that's using mushrooms to create thread. Really, really exciting time in fashion, because fashion is one of the biggest offenders to the environment. And it also creates it's a great opportunity for circular economy solutions as well. So I try to source get all of my clothes either pre-owned or having sustainable fabrics.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
Please send me a list of all the suppliers of these fabrics. Maybe we can import them into India and we can promote it here, And in fact, we are putting this recyclable, sustainable labels on our clothing, actually.
Oh, good. That's great.
That's
wonderful.
great.
Yeah, I'd like to learn more.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up. I do want to acknowledge that Jacqueline Wilson is joining us in the middle of the night from Egypt. And I appreciate you being here. And I hope this was valuable for you. But I thank everybody for being here and for joining us. And I look forward to seeing you next month at our next event. Emily, thank you very much for joining us and for sharing what it is that's happening and where we're going with the circular economy. Thank you
so much. Wonderful to be here. Thank you all for joining us, and I hope to see you again very soon. I may just need to join the Rotary Club because you guys are awesome.
Hey, good.
Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you very much.